Shabbat shalom. So we have many of you today, and I would like to welcome Ellie Humphreys with there. Hello, Ellie. With I don't remember the names of the name of your child.
This is Ari.
Ari. Hello, Shabbat shalom, Ari. Okay, so we are going to start with a song as we usually do, and you have it on the first page on the first page of your of your service booklet. Ma Tovu. So Ma Tovu is a song which we usually sing when we come into the synagogue, and it's a verse from the book of Numbers when. Remember the story of Balak, King Balak, who asked Bilam to come and curse the Israelites, but he couldn't curse them because God wouldn't allow him to do that. And he said, Ma tovu alecha Yaakov mishkenotecha Israel. How beautiful are your tents, O Jacob, you dwelling places of Israel. And it's something we sing when we start the service as a reminder that we have these beautiful places where that's called Zoom today, of course, but we call it synagogue, we call it homes, etc. So we sing it together. מה טובו אוהליך יעקב, משכנותיך ישראל. So it's very easy. Let's please join me. מה טובו אוהליך יעקב, משכנותיך ישראל. מה טובו אוהליך יעקב, משכנותיך ישראל. So now, of course, if we were in the synagogue, I would separate the room in two, and one group would start Matovu, and the other one would start a bit later. But we are not be able to do it today. It's fine. There's another morning song which I really like because it's a good way to start the day. It's Modéani, which is on page still on the first page. Modé, or if you girl, Moda, Ani lefanecha. I offer thanks to you, ever living God, that you have restored my soul to me in mercy. How great is your trust in me. So the idea for the rabbis who composed this prayer a long time ago, they believed that when you go to sleep, you dream, and your soul goes and travels in universes that we have no idea when we awake. And then you go there and you learn a lot of things, you meet a lot of people, etc., and you grow like this. Of course, today we know that dreams are a bit different, but I quite like the idea of when you go to sleep and your soul goes, wherever it goes, and then you discover things, you discover new places, you meet with new people, you discuss with other people. So, and it's a way to thank God for waking up in the morning again and being there together, and it's a good way to start the day. Okay. מודה אני לפניך מלך חי וקיים, מודה אני לפניך מלך חי וקיים, מודה אני לפניך modani lefanecha. One more time. Modani lefanecha melech chai vekayam. Modani lefanecha melech chai וקיים, מודה אני לפניך modani lefanecha. מודה אני לפניך מלך חי וקיים, שהחזרת בי נשמתי בחמלה. רבה אמונתך. How great is your trust in you as we're starting a new day. So over to the next readers now, and I think it's Abigail.
Abigail, we're waiting.
Sorry, my fault. Go, Abby.
Blessed are you, eternal our God, for eyes to see. Blessed are
You.
you, eternal our God, for clothes to wear.
Very good.
Blessed are you, eternal our God, for my family, my friends, and my community. Blessed are you, eternal our God, for giving me strength and happiness each morning. Blessed are you, eternal our God, for the privilege of waking up to a new day.
Lovely, thank you. I like what you said, internal our God. You know, it's really a story that is inside us. So, you know that every Shabbat we read a little portion of the 5 books of the Torah, and on this Shabbat we read a specific portion which comes from the book of. Do you remember which book we are in now? If anyone knows, please unmute yourself, and not the teachers. I want to hear the students. Which book? I'm not going to ask the parasha because it's a bit, it's very specific. But
Wait, I think I know. Is it Parsha Vayera?
Wow, very good, John. Vayera, which is in the book of. Do you remember?
No.
The first. How do you call? What's the name of the first book of the Torah?
Genesis.
Genesis, well done, Genesis. So we are now in chapter 18 and 19, I think it goes even further, of the book of Genesis. And there are many, many stories. You know, the book of Genesis is filled with very nice stories that we read every year. Abraham, Sarah, Isaac, Rebecca, Jacob, Rachel, and Leah, you know, all these forefathers and foremothers that we pray every time we say Via Mida. And today I wanted to show you a little video, and just to make sure that everything goes well. Share computer sound, it's good, and we're going to start this video, and then I will ask you a few questions.
Abraham and the 3 visitors.
Visitors? Could it be? Shalom! Welcome, guests. Today must be my lucky day. You must be hot. Please, come sit in the shade. Let me fetch some water to wash your tired feet. There, good as new. Now let me make you something to eat. You must be starving.
Yeah!
Sarah, my dear wife, we have guests.
Oh, guests! Shalom! 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 Are our guests hungry, Abraham? I will bake them some of my famous barley cakes.
And let's prepare a feast. My gentle guests, dinner is served.
Oh! Oh, yum, yum, yum.
Thank you, Abraham. This is wonderful.
That was delicious. Best meal I ever had. You like yours?
Certainly. Nyah, 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 nyah. Boy, you sure got it made, Abraham. The perfect life.
I suppose, though we have been feeling a bit lonely lately.
Oh, you want us to stay?
Oh, yes. What I meant is, we don't have a child.
Well, Abraham, you and Sarah are such gracious hosts. We have a feeling that by next year, you two will be blessed with a bouncing baby boy.
Oh, Abraham, that's impossible. I'm an old woman already.
And now we must go. Guys, say thank you to our hosts.
Thank you to our hosts.
How did I end up with these two?
So long, AB. And don't forget what we said about that baby.
1 year later.
Those 3 visitors were right. We really are blessed.
Okay, what was the name of the baby? Do you remember the name of the baby? Yes, just unmute yourself, Sam, yes.
Was it Joseph, I think? I don't know.
So Joseph was the grandson of Abraham.
Was it Isaac?
Isaac, absolutely. It was Isaac. And so there is a story in the Bible that says, what Sarah says, I'm sure she was over 90 years old. So, over 90, you can't get pregnant anymore. But she got pregnant, she had a baby, and she called it in Hebrew Yitzchak. And Yitzchak is a play on the word tzochek, which means to laugh or to play. And the text says it's because she laughed when we're going to talk about these 3 people. She laughed when these 3 people promised a baby, and then the baby would be called Yitzchak. So now, who are these 3 people?
They're angels?
Angels, yes. Yes, but look, they're still eating. So you have angels with they want to eat. Yeah, absolutely. So they came to announce to Abraham and Sarah that they will have a child, because the whole story would have ended. Without Isaac, there is no Jacob, and there's no Jewish people. So it was very important for them to come here. So if you think about what Abby, because how it's called in this video, what Abby is actually doing when these 3 people arrive, these 3 men arrive, what does he do? What do they do with Sarah? The first thing they do. Do they ask what's your name? Where do you come from? What's your business with us today?
They greet her.
Yeah, they just greet them. They just say, hello, come, sit down, and let's eat. So that's called hospitality. When you have people coming to your home, you feed them. And you know how food is important for Jews. We eat because it's how we get together. We eat together, and that's the first thing we do. We greet people and we offer them food. At that time, they also washed their feet. Do you know why?
They've been in the sandy desert.
Yeah, absolutely. So they didn't have cars, they didn't have trains or planes, so they walked all the time. So of course, the first thing you do is you wash the feet of your guests. So Abraham is known to be an example of hospitality. And remember, Abraham was circumcised 3 days before only. So he was still recovering from his circumcision. He was 99. So you can imagine that's quite a big operation when you're that old. And what the rabbi said is actually the 3 men were actually God coming and check on Abraham to see how he's doing. So that's also something important we do when we have people who are unwell and sick. We go and check on them. So that's the first bit we find in this Torah portion. I will show you later another one. So we are now, it's the end of the first page. Jonah.
A prayer for Shabbat. God, help us make this new Shabbat. Help us to make this new Shabbat. After noise, we seek quiet. After crowds of indifferent strangers, we seek to touch those we love. After concentration on work and responsibility, we seek freedom to meditate, to listen to our inward selves.
Rachel, you need to unmute yourself.
Yeah, I was just waiting for my tech guy here. Sorry, technical hitch. Okay, so we open our eyes to the hidden beauties and the infinite possibilities in the world you're creating. We break open the gates of the reservoirs of goodness and kindness in ourselves and in others. We reach towards one holy, perfect moment of Shabbat.
Baruch et Adonai Hamvorah. Baruch Adonai Hamvorah Leolam Va'ed. Praise the one to whom our praise is due. Praise the one to whom our praise is due forever.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam yotzer or uvoreh choshech oseh shalom uboreh et hakol hama'ir la'aretz uladarim alea barachamim uvtovo mechadesh b'chol yom tamid Maaseh Bereshit ma rabu maasecha Adonai kulam b'chokhma asita melea haaretz kinyanecha titbarach Adonai Eloheinu al shavach maaseh yadecha va'al ma'orei or she'asita yifaruch Selah.
Baruch atah Adonai yotzer hamorot. Ahava Rabba Ahavtanu Adonai Eloheinu Chamla Gedola Vitara Chamata Aleinu.
Our ancestors trusted in you, and you taught them the laws of life. So be gracious to us and teach us. Incline our hearts to hear your words, to know and understand, to learn and teach, and with love to uphold the truths of your Torah. Enlighten us with your teaching, make us faithful to your commandments, and wholehearted in the love and awe of your name. For in love you summon us to serve you and proclaim your unity. I read that in English, but I noticed that the Hebrew does actually contain something that we sing later on, because just the last bit of that paragraph is the same words as etc. that we sing when we take out the scroll. So that normally I think appears twice. I'll mute myself now before I keep on talking.
We praise you, O God. In love you have called us. You have called your people Israel to serve you.
Shema Israel, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Hear, O Israel, the eternal one is our God. The eternal God is one. Baruch Shem Kavod Malkut to Olam Va'ed. Praise be God's glorious majesty forever. Va'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבבך.
ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך.
This is where we pause and wait for the rabbi whose microphone is off.
Sorry, I'm here. So let's do it together. Leman tizkeru v'asitem et kol mitzvotai. You know, there is a way to sing it, and it's a passage from the Torah, Numbers 15. Leman tizkeru v'asitem et kol mitzvotai. V'heitem kedoshim leloechem. Ani Adonai Elohechem, Asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim, lihiyot lachem le'Elohim. Ani Adonai Elohechem. And the third blessing after the Shema and the text is Baruch Atah Adonai Ga'al Israel. We praise you, O God, Redeemer of Israel. And it's usually a moment when we pause and we think about all the reasons we can have to be grateful for. And especially now in a time where, you know, we're all in lockdown, stuck at home, we really need to think about what makes us happy despite the situation. I think that's a very good exercise. You know, either you see the half empty glass or you see the half full glass, and we can choose to see either or. But if we see the half full glass, then life is easier. Don't you think so? Huh? So there's a song which we all love together. So we all love. So let's sing it together. I've been waiting in the velvet sea. Oh.
Do you want people to unmute?
Yeah, unmute yourself and let's sing it. Let's make a big noise, and it doesn't matter if it's cacophonic. It doesn't matter. Okay. 2, 3, 4. I've been waiting in the velvet sea. Whoa. I've been waiting in the velvet sea. Whoa. I've been waiting in the velvet sea. Whoa. I've been waiting in the Baelim Adonai Mikamocha Eta Bakodesh Nora Teilot Ostefele Nora Teilot Osefele I've been waiting in the velvet sea. Whoa, whoa. I've been waiting in the velvet sea. Whoa, whoa. I've been waiting in the velvet sea. Whoa, whoa. I've been waiting in the sea. Baruch atah Adonai Gaal Israel. And we say together for the opening words of the Amidah, which is on the next page. Adonai sefat al tiftach ufi yagitehi latecha. Eternal God, open my lips, that my mouth shall declare your praise.
What are you doing now?
Okay, we have readers now for the...
need to take all of this off.
No.
You're up, Rebecca.
Jonah, that was Jonah, it's funny.
I
stand on the shoulders of family, of friends, of teachers, of strangers, who themselves stand on the shoulders of people who stood on shoulders.
Josh, you're up. Unmute yourself, Josh.
That should have worked, sorry. Each generation of shoulders are rung on Jacob's ladder, reaching me up toward heaven, just beyond my grasp. Blessed are you, O Eternal, the God of the generations who came before me.
Second blessing. You have called me into life. You have given me the power to choose. You support me with your compassion and allow me to compassionate to others. At each and every stage of my life, I give thanks to you for life. Blessed you are, O Eternal, the God of life.
Third blessing. Holy, 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 a spirit of generosity and kindliness. May we always be grateful for its presence. Holy, the moment of gratitude, the recognition of beauty, the search for the best in each. Let us sanctify the one that searches and each small step achieved toward God. Blessed are you, O Eternal, the God of holiness.
Fourth blessing. Shabbat is a special day set apart to be with family, set apart to be with friends, set apart to be with my community, set apart for myself to rest, to think about my relationship with you. Blessed are you, O Eternal, who set Shabbat apart from your people.
Fifth blessing. Listen, O God, to the prayers of your people, Israel, and the prayers of all peoples, young and old, here and there, Jews and non-Jews. Blessed are you, O Eternal, who listens to our prayers.
Sixth blessing. We give thanks to you, Eternal One, our God, as you were the God of our ancestors. You are the rock of our life, the power that shields us in every age. We thank you and praise you for our lives, which are in your hand, for our souls, which are in your keeping, and for the signs of your presence we encounter every day, and your wondrous gifts at all times, morning, noon, and night. Blessed are you, O Eternal, source of goodness, to whom our thanks is due.
Seventh blessing. You are the source of all peace, peace of the heart, peace of the mind. You have revealed to us a law of peace, kindness, blessing, and mercy. May your peace descend on us, on all Israel, and on all peoples. Blessed art you, O Eternal, the source of peace.
Thank you for your prayers. And this last blessing, Oseh Shalom, the God creator of peace, it's actually really something we want to have in our lives, peace of mind, peace of the heart. It's not always easy. It's more often than not something we really struggle for. But it's good to remember that peace is really something we need, to be able to sleep well, to study well, to have good relationships with our parents, with our siblings. Sometimes it doesn't work and it's fine, but that's exactly what we're striving for. And we usually end this the Amidah, this prayer by Ose Shalom. And you can unmute all yourself. God, I've got. So in English you say a frog in the throat, huh?
Yeah.
In French we say a cat in the throat. So it's a bit different. I mean, they say that French people eat frogs, but I can tell you that we don't eat very much frogs. I don't know why. I had once. It's not really good anyway. Oh, say shalom bimromav. Hu yaseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Israel ve'al kol bnei Adam yaseh shalom yaseh shalom Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Israel Yaseh Shalom Yaseh Shalom Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Israel Yaseh Shalom Yaseh Shalom Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Israel Yaseh Shalom Yaseh Shalom Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Israel Yaseh Shalom Yaseh Shalom Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol bnei Adam. Yofi, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. So we are now going to the next part of our service, which is to our reading. But you know what I like to do at this point of the service is to look on my phone and to see who has joined us on the Facebook feed. So I can see that Meira is here. Shabbat Shalom to you. Sarah, Shabbat Shalom. I have also Deborah Wilson. Shabbat Shalom, Deborah. Joshua and Sam Olson are here as well. Shabbat Shalom. Jason Thompson as well. Shabbat Shalom, Jason. Susan Burton from Suffolk. Shabbat Shalom, Susan. James Sales also. Shabbat Shalom. Louisa. And all the other people whom I don't see the name because I don't have all the names here. And remember, we have people watching us on YouTube and I feel like an influencer now on YouTube and Twitter. So follow us, hashtag the best synagogue in the world. So now.
But also all the people from Beiteinu that are joining in the service and watching is great.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, yeah. So what we do usually 3 times a week, but mainly on Shabbat, we read a little portion of the Torah scroll. So for today, I have prepared a picture of the scroll so you can have a look and you can see how actually the scroll is designed. And when you have your bar mitzvah, this is what you will have under your nose. And it's not as terrible as it seems. If you look really at that, you can see really the letters very, very easily. Vayar elav Adonai be'elone mamre. And when when you've read several times your own portion, you can see that it's quite easy to read. Jamie Lee in New Zealand. Wow, Jamie Lee, New Zealand. I'm very jealous about your Prime Minister. You have a wonderful Prime Minister in New Zealand. So can you send her just for a while here in the UK for a few times? Okay, so what we do usually when we read another Craig in Scotland. Wow, okay. Oh, it's such a lovely place, Scotland. We have some Scottish living with us, and I think, Lucy, I think you're still here. So welcome. So when we read from the scroll, we usually say a blessing before and after. And I will show you the blessings before and after, so you can actually, is there someone else? And Matt on Twitter as well. Okay, Matt. Shabbat Shalom, Matt. Okay, where is my Torah? I've got the Torah blessing, so you can also follow them. I try to be as quick as possible, but it's not always easy. Can you see it? So that's the Torah blessing that we say usually before and after. So who is saying the blessing before? Remember, you say the first line alone, then we all respond Baruch Adonai Hamevorach Leolam Vaed, and you have here the transliteration, and then you respond. So we saying the first blessing.
Noah, me.
Noah.
Okay, Noah.
Baruch et Adonai Hamvorach.
And we all say Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Leolam Vaed, and you continue.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Leolam Vaed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher b'chabanu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'torah.
Amen.
Amen.
Okay, so I'm going back now to my screen with a Torah scroll, and I will just lay in the first few verses. So what the text says, it's the beginning of Parashat Vayera, and if you look the first word here, Vayera, this gives the title of the parasha, because they didn't have books with titles in ancient times, so they would use the first word that was really important. So Vayera, okay, so that's the book of Vayera, of the chapter Vayera. So the Eternal appeared to Abraham by the Elonei Mamre, which is a kind of tree you find in Israel. Abraham was sitting at the entrance of the tent as the day grew hot. And that's exactly what we saw earlier in this little video. Looking up, he saw 3 men standing near him. As soon as he saw them, he ran from the entrance of the tent to greet them, and bowing to the ground, he said, "My lords, if it please you, do not go and pass your servant. Let a little water be brought. Bathe your feet and recline under the tree." You remember this was in the video that we saw together. "And let me fetch a bit of bread that you may refresh yourself. Then go on, seeing that you have come your servant's way." They replied, "Do as you have said." So then you have the story of Abraham going to Sarah and said, "Quick, free a seah," which is a unit in bring some flour, knead and make cakes. So when Abraham ran to the herd, he took a calf and he gave it to a servant boys who prepared it as a nice roti. He took curds and milk and the calf that he had prepared. So basically he prepared a feast for the people who came. And you know, they said, "We will return to you next year, and your wife Sarah shall have a son." Sarah was listening at the entrance of a tent which was behind him. Now Abraham and Sarah were old, advanced in age. Sarah had stopped having and Sarah laughed to herself, saying, "Now that I'm withered, am I to have enjoyment with my husband?" So, oh, it's becoming a bit cheeky here. So basically, am I going to have children? And she laughed. And God said to Abraham, "Why did Sarah laugh, saying, shall I in truth bear a child?" And Sarah said, No, I did not laugh. She lied to God, which is, you should never lie to anyone, but certainly not to God. And then they left, and a year later, they came back, and Isaac was born. Okay, so I'm going to read just the first two verses. Can you see the, can you see the white arrow?
Yeah.
Okay. Vayera elav Adonai באלוני ממרא והוא יושב פתח האוהל כחום היום ויישא עיניו וירא והנה שלושה אנשים ניצבים עליו וירא וירץ לקראתם מפתח האוהל וישתחוו ארצה ויאמר אדוני אם נא מצאתי חן בעיניך אל נא תעבור מעל עבדיך עבדיך יוקח נא מעט מים ורחצו רגליכם וישנו תחת העץ והקחה פת לחם וסעדו לבריכם אחר תעבור כי על כן עבדתם על עבדיכם ויאמרו כן תעשה כאשר דיברת. And you recognize la 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 la. So that's when we finish a portion. Okay, now who is reading the blessing after the Torah?
Karina is.
Okay, Karina.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'chayei olam natav b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu noten haTorah.
Amen.
Amen.
Well
Amen.
done. You know what, guys? You all read Hebrew perfectly. I'm very, very happy to see that today. You've made such progress in Hebrew. It's really good to hear you. You have, I mean, of course, your teachers are probably, push you to read more and more Hebrew, but well done, well done. Okay, so I'm just checking what's, so we are now towards the end of the service. We have the final prayer, which I think Tess is going to read, and then
Florence.
whose turn is it?
Tess and then Adrian.
No, Florence. Florence.
Oh, Florence. Okay.
Okay, where are you, Florence?
Tess first, then Florence.
Okay.
And then all that has divided us will merge. And then compassion will be wedded to power. And then softness will come to a world that is harsh and unkind. And then both men and women will be gentle. And then both women and men will be strong. And then no person will be subject to another's will.
And then all will be free and rich and varied. And then the greed of some will give way to needs of many. And then as will share equally in the earth's abundance. And then all will care for the sick and the weak and the old. And then all will nourish the young. And then all will cherish life's creatures. And then all will live in harmony with each other and the earth. And then everywhere will be called Eden once again. Eden once again.
Thank you. Karin, I have a question. I can't see the place for the second video. Is when was it?
It was with the Torah reading.
Oh, okay, okay. So, do you want to watch another video? Yes, okay. So, yeah, sorry, I just missed it. So the other video is also a story that comes from this parasha Vayera. And it's a very, very different story. And I'm not going to tell you beforehand. I just want to think about something that Torah is about, is about looking at how people live and making your own decision. Is it right or is it wrong? So I'm going to share with you now, if I can find it. Where are you? Yes, it's here. So is my computer sound always still is shared? Okay, so let's go.
If you're lucky, you have a cool uncle. Like, he's always looking out for you. Maybe at Hanukkah he gives you the video game system your parents would never buy you. Maybe he tells your parents they should let you stay up extra late. Maybe he takes you to movies you're not really supposed to see. That's the kind of uncle we're talking about. Abraham was that kind of uncle. At this point in Torah, Abraham is 99 years old. His wife, Sarah, is 90 years old. And they have no children. Not yet. But since they don't have kids of their own, they really adore their nephew, Lot. When Lot was young, they traveled with him, herded sheep with him, and probably, ate and drank and danced with him. But as Lot got older, his herd got so big that he had to move a few towns over to the town of Sodom. But Abraham and Sarah stayed in touch because they loved Lot a lot. But then Abraham got some bad news. God had been checking in on two nearby towns, Gomorrah and Sodom, where Lot was living. And God did not like what God saw. There were wicked people in those towns, drinking too much wine, making mischief, stealing, mistreating their animals, abusing their families. The outrage of Sodom and Gomorrah is so great, God told Abraham. Abraham knew what God was saying. If the people in Sodom didn't change, God would destroy the city along with everyone inside it. Abraham must have known that his nephew, Lot, would be killed along with Lot's whole family. But this wasn't fair. What if Lot was just hanging out with his wife and daughters? Why should they all be killed because their neighbors were behaving badly? So Abraham did something scary. He tried to make a deal with God. Will you sweep away the innocent along with the guilty? He asked. Thought God. What if, Abraham asked, there should be 50 innocent people in the city? And God, who can sometimes be reasonable, made a deal. If you can find 50 innocent people, I will forgive the whole place. But Abraham had to make really sure that his nephew survived, so he tried to get an even better deal. What if we can find 45 innocent people? And God said, okay, fine. If you can find 45 good people, I'll let the city of Sodom survive. Abraham was pretty pleased with himself, so he kept pitching even better deals to God. What if we find 30 good people? Okay, fine. 20? Fine, whatever. All the way down to 10. If there were 10 good people in Sodom, the whole city, including Abraham's nephew, Lot, could live. Now, in the end, an uncle can only do so much. God sent some angels to visit the city, and they discovered that the wickedness in Sodom was too great. It just had to be destroyed. Lot escaped with his daughters, but on the way out of Sodom, Lot's wife looked back at the city, something she'd been warned against, and was turned into a pillar of salt, a horrible way to die. Lot never again saw good old Uncle Abraham. But maybe, when Lot hung out with his daughters and grandsons, he thought of Uncle Abraham, who had loved him so much that he had bargained with the Lord.
So you know this story already, right? It's something sometimes we. So what would you think what Abraham was doing? Or I'm going to ask you another. Do you do this with your parents when they say?
Wait, was it bargaining?
It's a bargain. You're right. Yes, it was bargaining with God. If you can find 50 righteous, 45, 40. Do you do this with your parents when they want to punish you, and you bargain? Okay, if I do this? No, you don't do that?
Do it when they want extra treats for movie time.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, yeah. So what happened to this city of Sodom and Gomorrah? They didn't find any, even 10 righteous people, good people living in the city. So this number 10, if you think about the number 10, do we see the number 10 somewhere else in the Jewish tradition? Yes?
The 10 Commandments.
Very good. The 10 Commandments.
The 10 plagues.
The 10 plagues, yes. How many people do we have to be to have a public prayer, a communal prayer?
Righteous. The 10 righteous people.
Yeah, the 10 people, yeah. Do you know how it's called in Hebrew? It's called the minyan. Yes, it's called a minyan. So we need 10 people. Of course, you know, when here at KLS I have only 5 or 6 people, I still do because we count the Torah scroll, etc., etc. But you know, the idea is we need 10 people to make it a communal thing. So we were much more than 10 people today. And we are heading now towards the end of a service. And you know what we do at the end of a service? We usually remember people from our families who have gone at this year, at this time of the year in past years. And on this, it's called a Yortzeit. It's a Yiddish/German name, Yortzeit, the time of the year. If the Ashkenazi, they say Haskir, Haskara, remembrance. So on the Shabbat, we remember May Noad, the mother of Elsa Actonbond. We remember also Alfred Baum, the grandfather of Fleur. He died in the First World War 105 years ago. We remember John Regan Phillips, a friend of Rabbi Janet and Rabbi Janet's dad, Byron Darley. And we remember Dorothy Nyman, the grandmother of Rebecca Zingerman Knight. And what we usually say at the end of the service, because we remember these people who, they are the people who, I mean, they are the people before us who actually allowed us to be here today. So, you know, we all belong to a long chain of people before us, and we remember them because in a way we want to say thank you. And we say together the Kaddish, if you have 5 to 4, and we can say the Kaddish together. יתגדל ויתקדש שמך רבה, בעלמא דברה חירותי, וימליך מלכותי, בחייכון וביומכון, ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בגלה ובזמן קריב, ואמרו אמן. יהי שמך רבה מבורך לעלם ולעלמי עלמיה, יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם, ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה בריחו. לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דע מירן בעלמה ואמרו אמן. יהי שלמה רבה מן שמיה, וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל בני אדם, ואמרו אמן. So we are going to conclude now with a very easy song, and I want to hear all your voices. It's a song which says, how beautiful is this day, Shabbat Shalom. It's easy. Ma yafeh hayom, Shabbat Shalom. Ma yafeh hayom, Shabbat Shalom. So unmute yourself. If you don't know the melody yet, you just listen once, and then if you know it, you can join me already. Okay? Still have my cat in my throat. Ma yafeh hayom, Shabbat Shalom. Ma yafeh hayom, Shabbat Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat, Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat, Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat, Shalom. Shabbat, Shalom. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
So I'll see you in a few moments for the Kiddush, and I think, Caroline, is it the same link or is it another?
A different link.
I think it's a different one. There's the email link.
So you've got an email. It's
Oh,
the
it's
same
just the
link.
same.
Okay. So stay here in about, we need a bit because we finished a bit early. So let's wait in about 10, 15 minutes. In the meantime, you can go to the loo. You can have something to eat if you're hungry. And then we say we will do the Kiddush together. Okay? I'll see you in about 10, 15 minutes. Okay. Thank you.